Hi everyone, I'm Ryan London. Welcome to another episode of the Supper Club Social, where we review restaurants, movies, and TV shows and talk about home bars, cocktails, and pop culture. With me today is my co-host. My co-host today is a ham-smoking machine. He's found himself in more than one pan-to-Pam situation, but don't worry, he'll always be the first to lend you a hand. It's Roy Smith.
How's it going?
Welcome to the show, Roy.
Glad to be back.
Roy, our guest today went from student to teacher, from private to colonel. He's a pinball wizard and a friend to you and me. It is Darel Maxfield.
Sir.
How you doing, Darel?
I am well, my brother. How are you?
Doing well. It's been a little while.
Thank you for the opportunity to catch up.
Yeah, well, you see Darel Maxfield and you can get him, you get him,
You are kind.
So you kind of know how this show starts off. Roy, any dust-ups on the bus, beefs in the break room, unholy encounters, or youth sports squabbles?
I got none of those, but I got a follow-up.
Ooh.
Dust up on the bus.
Ooh.
From last week.
Oh, good. Oh, that was a rough one.
So I had the kid with the fake service animal
Okay, yeah,
that wanted to cause a little temper tantrum.
sure.
So he gets back on at his high school. I won't name. Don't want to single him out too
Shadle,
much.
NC, Rogers. It was
Well,
Rogers.
it wasn't the first one. Wasn't
Oh.
the last one.
Oh,
But it was real close to the first one.
okay. He didn't name it.
I did. Pick him up. 10:30 when school's out on a Friday.
Oh,
Or
nice.
not Friday. I guess it was on Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday.
Yep. When school gets out on Tuesday at 10:30 in the morning,
Naturally, yeah.
with his buddy. Not a peep.
Mm.
Get all the way to where he gets dropped off at. He's walking out the door. Thank you, bitch. It's like, oh,
Oh, well.
thank you.
Nice little sign-off, huh?
Yep. I can't. I just love it. And so I'm like, that's fine. I'll just keep writing papers until they put your little photo with all the
Yeah.
druggies and everybody else that gets kicked off the bus, and then
Right.
make sure to hand it to you when I finally get it.
And you basically have to just bite your lip.
Yep, just have to
'cause
sit there and take it.
You're on camera. If you say anything back, he'll say this guy said that. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what he did.
Yeah,
That's the world we live in.
I know. No repercussions for their great attitudes.
Doesn't look like it bent you out of shape this time, though.
No, because it's just like, oh, just keep adding to the fire, bud. You're just making your first case
There you
even
go.
worse.
I like it.
Because he didn't have his service animal, obviously, because he didn't need it at school,
Oh, right. That
where he probably would need it the most if he really needed one.
the blue healer that wanted to sit on the bench seat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Darel, have you ridden the STA bus system?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. No, when I was, I had my stroke and was out of things, learning to walk and talk
Sure,
again.
yeah.
And I went back to work for the district. I tried to go back to work.
Yeah.
And for a semester, I catch a ride with a friend of mine that lived not too far from me to school, and then I'd ride the bus all the way home.
Oh, okay.
Which, of course, and so I got a really wonderful education about basic humanity.
Yeah.
Right.
It'll really make you look the wrong way at humanity doing this job too long.
Well, yeah. At some point, though, people are people. It's just, and it's sad.
I know.
It really is, because we have allowed, and I would argue that lawyers have allowed us to do this, or have actually encouraged it to do this, but we have devolved to the lowest common denominator.
Yeah, I believe it.
Oh, totally.
And so as a result of that, there is no standard.
Yeah.
Right.
By making the standard, by lowering the standard so far, you've essentially given away the standard, and thus given away any sense of well, anyway, that's me.
Yeah, no, I 100%
Sure.
agree.
I appreciate the soapbox, yeah.
Sorry, I'll get off of it, thanks.
No problem.
I'm fat now. If
That's-
I fall off, I'll hurt myself.
That's what we do here.
But no, it's like the movie Idiocracy. It's really happening.
Yeah, right.
Have you seen that movie? Yeah. It's true, though. It's
Well
like,
played. Well played.
yeah, it's slowly coming to
I haven't
life.
seen that in a long time.
It holds up.
yeah.
It really holds up. It was a laughing matter whenever it came out like 15 years ago, but
Sure. No youth sports squabbles, Roy? Nothing?
well, not really me. Well, I had to tell my wife to calm down.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
How'd you do that?
I just said,
Do you still
Calm
have all
down.
your fingers?
yeah, I'm missing a couple nails though.
Okay.
But no, because our sons are in the basketball team together.
Sure,
They're in
yeah.
first grade. We were playing a team last week, and this one kid just super physical.
Just one step below the NBA. Just so
Yeah.
everybody knows.
Yeah. Just elbowing. I guess he was scratching Sully, like when he was trying to guard him.
Yeah.
And like like hitting him real hard with like elbows and stuff, and I'm just like if he's doing it to you, do it back to him. That's the only way it's gonna stop. And then he wasn't, because he's just trying to be a good sport and not try to attack anybody, you know?
Right, yeah.
And I guess the kid must have done something I didn't see. And Andrew's like, come on, are you kidding me? I'm like, come on, calm down. They're in first grade.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to start a fight with some parents.
Barely in control of their bodies in the first place.
And then the mom of the kid must have heard. So when he came back to our side of the court, she, like, came down and was like, come on. And then the kid, like, had a mental breakdown and started pouting and staring at the crowd because his mom came and talked to him.
It's that tough love, Roy. It's that tough love.
And then he got sat out for about 10 minutes because he couldn't calm down.
Oh, jeez.
And then he came back and just started the same things. But
well, Darel, on to you here. Any grandkid conniption fits, cooking conundrums, or laudatory life events?
ooh,
I had to look up laudatory. I actually looked up.
Is that to do with the lotto, I'm guessing?
It's like laudable, like praisable events.
Oh, okay.
I needed something that started with an L to rhyme with life.
Over my head.
That's tough. I was deep into a thesaurus today. So that basically is like how the grandkids doing. I don't know if you cook, but cooking conundrums was just too good to pass up. And life events, just kind of this is just the intro where we kind of just say how you doing, what's new.
Life is good to me. At my age now, every day is a miracle. Honestly,
49.
Yeah, something like that.
I guess about 45 myself.
Yeah. Not a day. Never mind. Anyway, the point is that. We went to lunch with a bunch of Salk retired teachers.
Yeah.
Which I was relating to you earlier.
Sure,
and then some folks from Shadle too. That's always fun.
Yeah, that's
to see
cool.
people that have been there. We're legitimately old now. But it's nice to get together with those folks.
Are you still in cahoots with Mr. Saffel? Was it?
Yes.
He had a mean slider back in the day.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. You didn't catch him. I caught him. I grew up with him.
Sure. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He was like, when we were like 7, I think, was our first team together.
Yeah, wow, jeez.
He played for Edna Ziegler Beavers, and I played for the Barton Oil Dodgers, and we played on the first All-Star team that we ever went together, and his pitch moved even then, and
really?
He threw hard for a little kid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he threw that goofy, that rubberized hard ball.
Sure, yeah.
But then the next step up, you go to county league in those days, and that was the hard ball, and then high school was the hard ball.
Right.
His goofy pitch always moved, and for a lefty, it moved back asswards.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as you're setting your target, I was just learning to catch with one hand at that point.
Sure.
And so, set the target, and that ball was moving it would move 6 inches or more.
Let me guess, right off the...
Yeah, right in. and that was before the days of sorbethane.
Sure.
And so it was just pure leather and those goofy Wilson. And I loved my Wilson mitt. I was a Wilson guy, right?
Yeah.
And the mitt was well worn in and nice and oily, and there was no leather there. And so his pitch would go right, doink. And I give him something about it right now to this day.
Yeah.
In fact, I did it yesterday with Mr. Brooks in front because we were talking baseball.
Nice.
And I gave Saf a ration of something for giving me arthritis in my hand.
Yeah, well,
he deserves it.
Sounded like he was doing it on purpose.
He was, by golly.
He was gunning for you even at a young age.
Those damn strikeouts didn't mean anything. He was trying to hurt his catcher. The fat guy behind the plate.
Wasn't even about the win.
Trying to hurt that sweaty man.
Yeah.
The sweaty guy.
Yeah. The white T-shirt that wasn't ever white. That wasn't ever white after the third inning.
Yeah, that makes it tough framing a pitch if you're... That's going to break your thumb.
Yeah, you're flinching. Yeah.
That's funny you bring up baseball. Scott Lewis was on our show the other day, and towards the end of it, he relayed a story of, I think it was JV baseball, and you were the coach, and he really wanted to pitch, and he's like, I think you're more of a first baseman. And he's like, and so he played first base, but you let him pitch. He goes out there, throws about 15 of the hardest fastballs he's ever thrown, and then he just hears from the dugout, "All right, Lewis, let's see the fastball." and that was when he found out he wasn't
never gonna pitch.
That was his moment, huh?
Yeah.
So Scott, I loved Scott now, and their entire family loved them all.
Yeah.
But Scott was not fleet of foot either.
Well, that's a delicate way of putting it.
Yes, he was not the fastest guy down the first base
Yeah,
line.
Sure.
Nor was he really fast from first to third. And so, Scout's honor, okay, really.
Yeah.
So his dad is standing over, where we were playing Glover, so he must have been over on it would be the first base side.
Sure.
And his dad is standing there with Steve Hertz.
Yeah, I remember him.
Okay.
Yeah, or the name anyway.
The coach
Is
from
he at Shale
Gonzaga.
now? Oh, Gonzaga. Hertz,
Gonzaga.
yeah, that's right.
Right, and his kid was on that team as well. And so he looks over and says, blank, blank, blanket, Scott. I told you you had to learn to play the piano, not to carry it to first base with you.
Oh, my God.
Oh, the good old days.
I'm just... You're trying not to laugh to... No, I don't want to insult the kid.
Sure,
I love the kid.
You got a lot of
love
to play. That is a really good line.
That is good.
Taught you to play the piano, not to carry it to first base. Okay.
Yeah, he was real slow, huh?
Oh, man.
Well,
And he's trying to race his kid?
no, he measured time on calendars like most people. Anyway, no,
Sure.
come on, cut it out. Anyway,
Yeah. No worries. Yeah.
I love it.
I love Scott though. Honestly, great kid, great
Yeah.
family.
He's a good guy. Yep. We've enjoyed having him on the show.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the voice of an angel, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Built for the mic, for sure.
Does he really?
Yeah, he did the PA announcing for the Spokane Chiefs and the Spokane Indians
No
for
kidding.
years and years, and now he
Oh.
does all the Shadle games, I think. And he's
Yep.
done it all.
He's trying to get groovy shoes, but I think they shot him down.
Yeah.
That's not. Yeah, no. Try and deal with the Coliseum or the arena. Excuse me.
right.
Yeah.
Coliseum. Oh, jeez.
I'm sorry.
I remember
I'm
that.
old now. Yeah.
What about you, Ryan? Any workplace mishaps or?
Oh boy, you should try writing one of those one day. Make it all rhyme like I do.
Yeah.
It'd be real nice.
Well,
just a little effort. It goes so far.
I was told just show up and smile. That's what I
true.
do.
Work has been good. It's been a lot. I don't know if the mics are picking up the torrential downpour, but I've been in a lot of rain gear lately.
Mm-hmm.
And which is actually, everyone always goes, oh, I'm sorry you got to work in this. And I just kind of smile and go, this is so much better than 105 degrees. And you're sweating and there's no way to cool off. Because rain gear, you're invincible to bushes. It's like sealing in the heat, and it's kind of nice.
Yeah, and it's brand new this year.
People don't really talk to you either, so that's always nice. And I did get new rain gear. I didn't really modify it, though. I suspect this is inside baseball here, but the pants, I think, are the bibbed version, but they just cut the bibs off. So the crotch hangs down to like 2 inches above my knee. So without suspenders, I just waddle around.
That's probably for good reason from what I've heard about you.
And so, I brought some suspenders from home, and it just sucks it right up there. And boy, I'm moving like I'm in my 20s again, Roy.
Nice. Well, I don't know why you gotta worry too much about your legs. I'm just doing a lot of this from the ground nowadays.
Yeah, funny you mention that. I used a water-fed pole on a job that I cleaned the traditional way like 3 years ago. It took me 7 hours to do traditionally. Guess how long it took with the pole setup?
2 hours.
Now, the pole is a water-fed pole. It filters all the minerals out of the thing, so I scrub it and rinse it, basically. It's a lot more technical than that. That's the easy way of saying it. But, it took me 3 hours.
Getting lazy.
And I didn't step foot on a ladder.
Okay, can I compliment you actually?
Sure.
Not to blow smoke up your
No,
You can
go
cuss.
ahead.
We got an adult
No,
rating.
go ahead.
that part. But you know what you really have from a world-class talent standpoint? Like Clayton Kershaw has the curveball that goes like from here down to here, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, and you have, and I have tried hard most of my life since I was a little kid to try to ever get even close to your level of performance. But you are a squeegee master.
Oh, thank you.
You are. That is something that if there is a Hall of Fame, a squeegee Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, you, my brother, have a bust there, so to speak.
Hopefully not, but I got Dwayne.
Dwayne Wayans, yeah.
But it would be clean, I can assure you.
That's for sure. Squeaky clean, as I say.
Yes.
Good deal. Well, thank you for that compliment. I think, Roy, we got to move it on to happy hour.
Yeah,
We got to
let's
fill
take
these
a
glasses up.
Quick little break here.
All right. And I always forget to play the music.
Every time.
You
I give you the warnings, you don't even respect
the
them.
whole point of this music is it ushers us out, walks us
I know.
right out. All right.
We're
We'll see you in a
very
second.
happy.
Cheers. It's happy hour.
Has anybody ever said, I love Smokey Bear?
Not at the podcast, but
Okay.
out and about.
Okay. I love Smokey Bear.
That was my call sign.
Oh, here, let me.
Mine was Wolf 06.
Well, originally it was Jackalope, and my convoy commander didn't like that because he thought it meant I was a horny rabbit. So you can't wear that on your uniform. Like, well,
So, you know how everybody had a tab over there, right? Well, I was a leg. I was an infantry guy, but I was a leg, so I didn't ever do the Ranger, airborne overall. So we got to the point where everybody started liking what we were doing, and so one time in Baghdad, my sergeant major went and got us tour guide patches. And so we would put tour guide on whenever the senior leadership wasn't there, and it was like, oh, you got the tour guide patch? Oh yeah, yeah.
it's hard to get.
Yeah, only real soldiers have tour guide patches.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, good
Okay.
deal. Let's. Welcome back to the show, everybody. I will candidly keep that part of the end of the show. So we're here for happy hour now. Roy, we usually like to do a quote, but I'm wondering if you want to up the ante and do a full poem.
You want me to read it?
No, I'll read
I'm
it.
about to say I'm not doing it if you want me to read it, but yeah, go for it.
Now this quote that
think
got me
it's a
started.
poem.
It's part of a poem.
Okay.
Now it's French, but I'm going to read it in English.
Well, that's good.
Keep your tongue to yourself, young man.
Now, it's from Charles Baudelaire. He lived in, I didn't write it down, 1821 to 1867 in Paris.
Long life.
Now, this is the
Back then.
direct translation. Always be drunk. That's it. The great imperative. In order not to feel time's horrid fardel, bruise your shoulders, grinding you into the earth. Get drunk and stay that way. On what? On wine? Poetry? Virtue? Whatever. But get drunk. And if sometimes you happen to wake up on the porches of a palace, in the green grass of a ditch, in the dismal loneliness of your own room, your drunkenness gone or disappearing, ask the wind, the wave, the star, the bird, the clock. Ask everything that flees. Everything that groans or rolls or sings, everything that speaks, ask what time it is. Ask the wind, the wave, the star, the bird, the clock. Will answer you time to get drunk. Don't be martyred, slaves of time. Get drunk, stay drunk, on wine, virtue, poetry, whatever.
Nice.
He only lived, like I said, 1821 to 1867, so he's about 46.
That's pretty good for back then,
Good
though.
stretch. The Black Manhattan.
Yeah, cheers to that.
Cheers, right. Oh. Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
Good and good for you.
Oh, yeah, wow.
That poem reminds me of my little quote you could have on MySpace, you know?
Yeah,
It was,
here.
time's never wasted if you're wasted all the time.
Nice.
Which I tried to live by for a long time.
Thanks for letting me do that.
Yeah.
Daryl, how is the Black Manhattan treating you? Dancing on the tongue?
It's delicious. Actually, it has that nice little finish, I believe is what the term you might use.
Yeah.
The gentle overtone of something.
Well,
Tell us about
notes. Let's see. So, a Black Manhattan is a Manhattan, but you substitute out the vermouth and you put in an Amaro called Averna Siciliano. Now, it is a 150-year-old recipe. Oh, boy, I don't think I can read it, Roy. It's too small and a weird color.
Get your eyes checked.
But it's got some caramel notes. It's got some other notes.
Yeah, you really...
Quarter notes, half notes. Yeah.
It doesn't really actually say any of that. But Right.
It says some things, and it's all good.
But on the recipe, like liquor.com and all that, that's what that stuff does. It's bitter. It's on the same scale of your Campari's, what was the stuff we had last week?
the
Chinar.
Yeah.
It's on that scale. It's probably the
Artichoke
lowest bitterness level of all those. But, yeah, and it adds a little sweetness to it, I
yeah,
would say,
it's
too.
good.
On behalf of Grateful Nation, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thanks for your service, Ryan.
You know, I try to serve in every way I can. And sometimes that's just taking the edge off your nerves. Mm-hmm. Little cocktail. Now, for happy hour, you're probably wondering, what are we going to do? What could you possibly do after that?
How
After
can you top that poem?
Well, I hope you're in the mood to talk power tools.
Good
Top
old
10 power
Tim the
tools
Toolman Taylor.
every homeowner should have. Now, Darryl, I don't know where you land on the spectrum of power tools or
Power
whatnot,
drills.
but you're a homeowner, so I'm assuming you've ran into a few of them.
More
Now,
power, Tim.
This is from a website that I did not write down. The top 10 power tools every homeowner should have. Number 1 is the cordless drill.
Yes.
Yes.
That's just,
I mean-
come with the house.
I don't think it has to be cordless, but you have to have a drill.
Have you ever used a corded drill?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Now, Roy, you're still in your 30s. Was it your dad's drill?
No. I think
Purchased
maybe
one?
it was. Maybe he gave it to
Borrowed
me.
one from a
I think he
neighbor.
might have gave me his old one when I
Okay.
got my first house.
There we go.
When he got a
like
cordless
it.
one.
Now
So
there-
it might be. It's a
there-
Craftsman
Oh, well, there you
with the
go.
choke key on the cord.
Oh, nice. That's how they used to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Darryl, I'm assuming you've used a corded drill before.
More than once. Yes, I still have my dad's corded drill wrapped
Nice.
up in the tool
Yeah.
closet, so to speak.
Sure.
And it's still there. It's silver and very well
Yeah,
worn,
yeah.
and the key
Yeah.
is still on a black tape.
Yeah.
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 There
That
has
black
to
tape.
be.
That black tape is older than I am.
Oh, it
and
has
so
to.
yeah,
It's gotta have the black tape.
40, 50 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you'll never think you need a corded drill after you've got your little battery drill until you start. Well, you can't see the deck drill, but it's 16 by 16, and I bought 3.5-inch screws because I'd never wanted it to move ever, I guess. And I went through about 1,000 battery charges to get the stupid thing in, and it's like, man, if I just had a
should've called me.
stupid cord. I don't think I knew you back then, Roy.
No, we did.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Why didn't you come help?
Because I remember Amy calling Andrea and telling her about it.
Well,
Yeah.
what things it could have been,
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
All right, so we all agree there. Number 2, the chop saw.
Yep. I got 2.
2 chop saws. Okay. Now, you think every homeowner needs this?
No, I don't think so. Only if you're gonna do some real like maybe some framing.
Well, it's your trim.
No, I would respectfully disagree.
Oh.
I think the chop saw is like a key to life. You can use that in if you have any trees, shrubs, you can use them all.
Are you thinking chainsaw?
No,
Or a sawzall.
you can also use a sawzall. But
Chop saw, I
I'm-
picture the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, I'm thinking zing
Circular
saw.
saw.
I'm sorry, circular saw. My bad.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
stand
circular saw,
corrected.
No problem. So that's what we're... That's right.
Sorry.
Roy, chop
Yep.
saw is the
Yep.
thingy.
Yep.
Now, I also have one.
You can set angles and
And if you're going to
Miters.
do any, pretty common home remodel stuff, you got to have one. For your trim.
Circular saw would work too.
You can't cut an angle on trim.
Yeah, with the square.
You can, but the chop saw in that case is a lot more
Trust me.
precise.
I just start glaring at Roy every now and then. I hate that you have to be in the middle of that.
Oh no,
you can
it's
probably
fine.
feel it.
No,
don't know.
I love having half my head beaten in. It's wonderful.
Sure.
It's a great feeling.
All right. Circular saw is number 3.
Yeah, probably more than a chop saw.
I think I use the chop saw more, but
Well, because you have it.
you have 2 of them.
Well, 'cause
Do you
I
have a chop
different
saw, Darryl?
sizes.
I don't think we said
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's not a yeah.
I got a
portable,
7.5,
Sure.
and then I got like a 12-inch.
I mean, it's one of those things you only buy it to because you're actually going to do it.
Yeah.
Use it. It's not one of those things you have rolling around.
But
All
a
right.
circular saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I got one.
I mean, most job sites they have more of those than a chop saw.
Yeah. I've got a funny circular saw
Yeah.
story. I bought back when I first started doing siding and windows and stuff a long time ago. I got to swallow down. It was a little 3-inch battery one, so we used it to cut 1x2s and stuff for whatever it was. And I was like 18, didn't really know anything. And I'd seen my boss hold the guard up and cut stuff.
Yeah.
And I just was aware that he was holding the guard up. I didn't really see how he did it. When I picked up the saw, I'm like, huh, yeah, that's how, okay. So I like hold it up, turn it off, like rips my glove off.
Yeah.
And then he looks over, he goes, did you just cut your finger? I'm like, nope. And then I go, do you want to cut this again? I'll watch your other hand and see what. Of course, it's a little stupid lever to move the guard. You know, it's like so obvious, but I was so, I don't know, I've like never asked for help, you know, in a normal way. Anyway, so I didn't lose a finger, but I lost a glove.
No. Hopefully it wasn't a good one.
No, it probably wasn't. Number 4, the table saw. Now,
I think that I don't know. I don't
Seems
think it's a
extreme to
necessity.
me.
Yeah. I mean, I have one. I had 2 at one point. But that's because I was getting rid of one and getting a better one.
Sure.
But I
Darel,
used to also do woodworking, so I
That's
needed
true.
all that stuff.
you were into the craft scene pretty hardcore.
I was very crafty for a while.
I do not.
No.
Yeah.
I think that's obscene.
I have a 1970s Craftsman I rebuilt.
We're talking, that's 3 saws.
I have other saws too. I have a radial arm saw, which nobody really needs, but I got one of those too.
No, that's the one that you go down, it pulls out.
Yeah, it goes down and then you can.
It's like a chop saw, but so you use that for
Chop saw on steroids.
Yeah, it's like the
Longer,
original. It's like the chop saw before
bigger boards,
you could
right?
have a chop saw.
Oh.
Like you could rip a whole board in half with it. You just turn the this way and set it, and you can run like a 2x4 through it this way and go all 8
okay,
feet.
yeah, I see, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've only used it for one project, but I really wanted it, so I had to find a project to get it for. Yeah.
Justify its existence.
Yeah.
Roy, that's the bigger boat, bigger truck situation.
That's right. So I have one. Used it once. Still works.
Gotta get a bigger truck now.
But yeah, it's a Sears or Montgomery Ward.
Oh, well, they used to know how to make stuff.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on here. Number 5 is the angle grinder. Now,
We're talking the handheld.
handheld angle grinder, yeah. Darel, any angle grinders in your house? Any good stories about angle grinders?
We got a good one.
Well, Roy, do you have an angle grinder?
I do.
They're pretty handy.
They are.
I have to admit.
I don't use it very often, but they're good for like cutting up rebar if you're gonna use them for like landscaping stakes and stuff.
Sure.
That's what I bought mine for,
Yeah, okay.
and I've used it for other things since. But
I used mine to trim some tile that I put in the bathroom, like to shape it. I used it, when I was changing my chainsaw blade or chain, I took it off with the chain brake on, and that's like, on a
What a rookie.
Husqvarna, it's a big no-no, so I used my angle grinder, took a spark plug wrench and cut some grooves into it, fits right on that thing.
flip it up, huh?
I'm not going to the dealer, just reset that
Well,
baby myself.
you never show your face again if you went there. That was your first time ever using a chainsaw?
Yeah, totally.
I remember my first time when I was 10.
So yeah, that was good. Now, angle grinders, I used to have a friend. I don't have a lot of ex-friends, I will say. Now, he didn't die from this.
Well,
You're giving me that look, which means I set it up wrong. He's an old friend of mine, and the friendship kind of fizzled out. But he was angle grinding, and it blew up on him, the
Disc.
grinder, the disc, and cut him pretty bad across his cheek.
I think he didn't have a guard on it.
Probably not. You probably didn't.
Yeah.
Ryan, for your family, may I get you a Dremel tool?
I have one of those too.
I don't
On
use
behalf of your family.
I always hold it away from you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, fine.
But anyways,
So, anyways, that my friend, he got all scarred and mangled, and I'm just sitting there one day, and I go,
it was right before his birthday.
you know what? I'm gonna get him a Phantom of the Opera mask.
You are dumb.
So,
Perfect gift.
Oh,
I
dude.
get it off of Amazon. It shows up, and at one of his kids' birthdays, I go, "Hey, Constantine, I got you a present." And he's Russian, and all of his Russian family is there, and they're like a sliding scale of who spoke English and who didn't. So I only really knew him, and our kids were friendly. That's beside the point. So there's all of them looking at me.
Yeah.
Guess what I'm trying to say. And he pulls it out and just starts dying laughing at first. And he puts it on, and it covers the scar perfectly. It was made for him. I was like, Constantine, you look, I could see you again. Now I don't see the scar. And he's laughing, and then to speed the story up, he never talked to me again. Ever. I really try. I have a hard time letting go of friendships. And I probably sent him, looked like a teenage girl stalker coming after him. And he never came back. So I found the line there.
And you probably crossed it. Maybe even long jumped across it.
But it was really funny.
It was.
That was worth it.
Oh, I laughed so hard when you told me that happened.
Oh, I could hardly even wait to give it to him. Roy, what's our time?
We still got about 3 minutes. Here? Yeah.
All right, there's just a few left.
Yeah.
Impact Driver. Impact Driver.
Yeah.
That basically comes with any cordless drill these days, the combo.
Yeah, if you get the combo pack, yeah.
And I think it's pretty dang handy.
Especially if you're doing like lag bolts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Definitely needed.
And I recently used one. I was on this apartment complex, and I had to lean over to screw this gutter in, and I couldn't push, or else it'd push me off the roof, you know. But with the impact, it was beautiful.
Also great if you own a camper trailer.
Oh yeah, I believe
for
it.
the jacks.
Yeah, there you go, Roy. Although it does say not to use that.
Well, I
You're
don't
a rule
care.
breaker.
You
That's
use
what I
yours
like about
too. That's when I started doing it because you're like, oh, that's smart.
I don't like to take credit for it, you know.
Yeah, I was sitting there with the stupid tool they give you, just sitting there hand cranking them down.
Roy, let me get that for you.
Yeah. 2 seconds later, I'm like, oh.
Higher, lower.
Yep.
Yeah, that was awesome. So that's super handy. Have you used a impact driver, Darel?
I no. Yes, I have one, and yes, I probably have to say I've used it. I don't use it a lot. I burn the clutch out of my regular drills, so that's okay.
And don't feel like you got to wait for me to call on you. If there's something burning, just let it out. Nail gun and air compressor. I don't have either of those.
I have both of those, but I don't think they're necessary because you can just use a hammer and a nail.
Oh, you're so old school, Roy. It's just
a lot of the stuff I have is because I used to do woodworking. Like
you cologne use wood smoke, don't you?
Tim McGraw.
Nice.
I have my nail gun. I've used it once. It's the reason I bought it. I used it once and have not since. However, it's a utility.
Yeah. It sure is nice.
I have a finish nail gun, which is same thing.
Brad nailer. Yeah. I used that. I borrowed that from
that's
you.
right.
Thank you for that.
For your trim.
I put on a shiplap back of the cabinets or whatever, and the brads were like 2 inches long, so inside my cabinets, you don't want to go back to the back wall.
You might see a couple
curves. I bent some of them down, but I want a few sticking out just to keep the kids honest.
Down. It'll drive it right down to the surface, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nice and flush.
Okay, fine. Yes, dear.
But just like the tiny, like sliver nails.
So you don't have to follow it up with
just
all the way.
And you can adjust
punch.
You can adjust the depth a little bit.
Okay, fine. Make people.
Because I've not done it right, and you have them stick out, and then it's a game over because you can't.
Yeah,
it just bends.
Yes, you're right. It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
All right, there is one more, number 9, jigsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got it. Yep. Jigsaw.
I just use mine. That's the last tool I used, I think, was jigsaw. Wow. Yeah.
I have 4 of those, depending, and they lie where my trees and brushes are.
Yeah.
They literally stay at the work site for me.
Oh, okay, nice. I like that.
It's nice because it's quick, easy.
And it's not very dangerous.
No. I mean,
you can't really.
Worst that's gonna happen is you go blip.
Yeah. Boy, you should really have that on silent, Roy.
That's so you can hear it.
All right, we're under the gun on the clock
I'm sitting here going like this, and you're just like, well, let's do 5 more questions.
We've got another segment to do. So the last one is an oscillating sander.
Yeah, it's the one that it doesn't do like a perfect pattern. It's
to
random.
be fair, this says oscillating cutter. I just think it's autocorrect.
That must be like
There's no oscillating cutter.
It's the.
Oh, it's the Dremel tool, right?
Yeah, kind of. But it has just the little flat rectangular blade, and it's just like super fast.
Oh,
like
yeah.
down the stairs.
Yeah, I like to do like trim, like to get under trim to put like hardwood flooring underneath it or something.
I've never used one of those, but I can.
My father-in-law has one. I don't own one.
I don't either, but I
But since he owns it, I kind of own it.
You kind of. Okay, Roy, 5 honorable mentions. Just a sec. We've got the Sawzall, rotary hammer, electric planer, paint sprayer. It's time to dive into the segment of the week.
I should have been dead 3 times now.
Oh, jeez.
Seriously. I
Yeah.
should have been dead 3 times, but I'm not.
Yeah.
And so as a result of that, bullshit aside, okay, and you can laugh and you can say, oh, that's so, and you could be absolutely correct. But the truth of the matter is that life's sum total is actually all about, and you're going to laugh, okay, you're going to laugh your ass off, but the sum total of life is about the quality and nature of the relationships that you have while you're alive. And that's my, as I have pondered the end several times now, 3 times. And every time I come up with the same conclusion.
Yeah.
God gave me an incredible privilege. I believe there is a God, which it makes me odd to begin with. And I'm not arguing that everybody should take that.
Sure.
I do.
Yeah.
It's my problem, not yours. But in that, the quality and nature of relationships is paramount. The rest of it is just stuff. And again, I'm not saying that you have to embrace that, but that's what I have embraced.
Sure. And does that, do you feel like that it has to be a two-way street, the relationship of the kid? So are we talking about, I asked you how you remember all their names.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel like it's from the relationship part. And I imagine the effort you put into it gets a certain reaction back from a
Normally it does. Yeah. Normally it does, but there are times that it doesn't either.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's something that I'm willing to accept now a lot better than I used to. Again, it's a religious problem for me. I'm not saying it's a religious problem for the world, but from a Christian standpoint, God in my world demands that he doesn't ask us. He demands that we love one another, that you love your neighbor as you would love yourself.
Sure.
Now, again, if you really believe that, bullshit aside, it becomes an incumbent responsibility on you,
right,
to reach out and then continue to reach even when they slap your hand.
Right. Yeah.
And thus my question to you is always, how can I help you be successful today?
Sure. Yeah.
And it may sound, and to a lot of people it's like, oh, that's just bullshit. And yeah, okay,
sure, if
that's what you think it is, but and so that's a problem for me, not you.
Hey, let's start the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just getting you warmed up here.
Yeah, that's good though. I have the same feeling.
Darel, you're really fun to talk to. We've got you here for the segment of the week. Now, we've kind of gone away from this style of segment of the week. Usually I throw in a goofy game and whatnot, but we're going straight interview style here. I'm not going to lie about it.
Brace yourself.
I've broken you into 3 parts. Personal, military, and teaching. Obviously, there's more to you than that. But these are what the questions will revolve around. I feel free not to answer them. Roy, feel free to interpret them. Should I ask something that makes no sense?
All right.
And I will admit some of these questions I've circled around for a week or two and couldn't really figure out the right way what I was trying to ask. So it might be more of a prompt than a question.
Right, because you have some military experience, particularly with the Middle East.
Yeah.
If I say something that's bullshit, you call bullshit.
Okay.
Okay, seriously.
All right.
You have my blessing.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That's why we keep Roy around.
Everybody has their own experience over there, though.
Yeah, but
Sure.
But there's a difference between fiction and reasonable fact.
Yeah. I gotcha.
Okay, well, let's see. We were just kind of talking about this. Let me ask you this question here. So do you believe in mantra? You've said a couple of times, how can I be of service to you? Or what's a good way for me to
help you today?
Why can't I say?
Yeah, how can I help you be successful today?
So I think that's kind of something you've repeated over the years, so let me ask the question. I always do this.
Yeah.
How long does a mantra take to become part of who you are, and can you think of the first mantra or most successful one that you've had?
Well, I think that's the beauty of education, particularly if you take a
a philosophy course.
Mm-hmm.
I had a philosophy teacher at Gonzaga, I think it was my freshman year, and he used to talk about Socrates, Aristotle, and Plato, or Plato, Socrates, and Aristotle.
You ever go down the cave allegory?
Oh my! Don't go down there, please.
So
We had an episode of that.
the one question is that, know thyself.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it was the self-awareness kind of thing. And then, as you go forward in life, you pick up little tidbits that you think, it really makes a lot of sense to me. So,
Yeah.
for example, you go through a leadership course and you like Stephen Covey.
Mm-hmm.
And so, seek first to understand, then to be understood. And that's something that I quietly say to myself.
Say that again.
Seek first to understand, then to be understood. And so I put that in my back pocket, and I have tried to incorporate that. And when you're in Iraq or in other places, and you don't even speak their language.
Oh yeah.
And
I had a book.
Yeah.
Like, here,
So-
look at these photos.
Yeah, yeah. And so, it's like, what are they doing? And so rather than me being the outside agent as the American telling them what to do, my first reaction is always to seek first to understand,
Yeah.
then to be understood. And my job was to command Iraqi troops.
Yeah.
And you can't command anybody until you understand them. And so as a result of that, that's one of those mantras or adages
Sure.
that you would say. Another one is back in the old days when you were part of my world, or you and I were part of the same world.
Sure.
28
I really,
yeah. I really got into something that I used to make my kids do odd things, like try to say things about, make a truth, say a truth.
Okay.
And I would give them the example of today is tomorrow's memory, make it a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And that and a kid did that in art and put it on put it on a poster the first year I was at Salk, and I put it up over the doorway because I really believe, and unlike many others, I actually believe the shit that I put out.
Sure.
And so I'm not going to make you eat it if I don't eat it myself.
Right.
Yeah.
And so.
Well,
Yeah.
that's, I think, what is kind of the secret sauce of an adage or mantra. It's something you've repeated so much that you fine-tune, it changes over time. I always had one, it's a little more on the silly side, but it was NBDFTG. No big deal for this guy. Because I used to work with people who are kind of a little high-strung, and I was trying to set the tone of, like, let's just relax and figure out the problem.
Yeah.
So they would be stressed, come to me and be like, NBDFTG, let's get it on here.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah,
My mother was my fifth grade teacher, and I loved her very much. She was a really good teacher. She was the best teacher, hands down, that I ever had. But she was an incredible disciplinarian, and she actually made everybody remember two sayings. One was my father's saying, and the other was my mother's saying. My father's saying was, habit is a cable, we weave a thread of it each day until at last we cannot break it. And then my mother's saying that she had gotten, and again, you're talking about a woman who grew up in the absolute abject poverty of the western hills of Virginia. You're talking people from the east, like New Yorkers, will always say, oh, those are hillbillies, they're ignorant hicks. And well, they're a hell of a lot smarter than most people will ever be, because they actually have to cope with life.
Right.
But her saying was, make believe that work is play, and strive with all your might, and weariness will fly away, and work become delight. Now, if you realize that the military, particularly basic training, or any training, is just a game.
Yeah.
It is just a game. It's been done by millions of other people.
Yeah.
And so drill sergeants that are on your, head telling you to push the earth away, and they'll be back when they're tired.
Yeah.
And you're pushing the earth away. That's nothing that hasn't been done by thousands of other people.
Yeah.
But it just so happens that you think they're picking on you.
Yeah.
right.
Truth is if you just make it a game,
Yeah. It's just a game.
I can win this.
Yeah.
And so those are when you talk about mantras or adages, I have lots of them, and I have relied on them.
Sure.
When I had my stroke and I couldn't talk, in my own head, I was telling myself things. I had to tell myself to do things that I couldn't do.
Wow.
But the thing that I would always remember is that the people at St. Luke's, and they were all wonderful and trying to be loving and kind and supportive and positive. They were asking me to do things that had been done by lots of other people.
Sure.
And so they weren't asking me to do the impossible. They were just asking me to do the difficult.
Yeah.
And so in my own head, I was always make believe your work is play and strive with all your might. Worrying yourself fly away and work become delight. You can't beat me, you son of a...
Jeez, and that's when you're not able to verbalize that.
Right. But
Yeah.
the idea is that if you put me in a competitive situation, I hate to lose. I don't necessarily like to win, but I hate to lose.
So were you at the St. Luke's off of a Cowley?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right by the Soldiers' Home.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because my mother-in-law worked at the St. Luke's Rehabilitation underneath Holy Family Hospital, so I was just trying to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went there for
Does that
my back with the VA.
Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. That's
good.
I had a feeling you might have something to say about that.
My mantra was fuck it.
I was going to ask you that actually.
Got it from my best friend growing up. We had a little rough patch in life.
Yeah.
When he was a senior, I was a junior.
Sure.
And we're just like, you know what? Just fuck it. If it happens, like, just fuck it, dude. You get in a car accident, fuck it. You get stuck in a ditch because you drove too crazy, fuck it.
But see, the thing that you would say is that you couldn't say that when you were younger, and you probably wouldn't say it when you're older, but at that moment it makes sense.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that you go through in life that I would say today that I wouldn't have said when I was 17.
Oh, yeah.
Or 27. Or 40.
Yeah.
Or 37.
But I lived my life like that for a long time. Like, oh, whatever. It sucks, but fuck it. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'll get through it.
Alrighty. I've got a lot of questions.
We got 6 minutes before we have to take a quick pause.
Well, I had you on my mind, and...
Well, yeah, because we were supposed to do this back in...
Veterans
start of
Day.
November,
We were going to
yeah.
try to get you
Veterans
on
Day.
for Veterans Day, and so I've been thinking of stuff to ask you since then. But let's see here. So this is a good one. I'm going to build up to that one. What advice did your parents give you that really stuck? You already mentioned the adage. Is there anything else that So for me, one thing my dad taught me that actually stuck, and I'm emphasizing the actually stuck part because so much goes over. It just goes over.
Oh, yeah.
And it always kind of two things. It fascinated me that it actually stuck and I remembered it, and that it actually benefited me through life. And he just said, "Never burn a bridge."
Oh.
And
boy, that's a smart man.
When you just hear it, you're like, all right, I'll never burn a bridge. But when you put it into practice, there's so much that leads up to leaving a relationship in a healthy enough state that it can be accessed again at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's the same way as saying don't burn a bridge, but it really affected me over time. So that's kind of what I'm... that's what made me ask the question.
Boy, I might have to steal that one from your partner. My dad's mom and dad died when my father's last parent died at the beginning of his 5th grade year. He was over in Forks, Washington, and his mother had died when he was like 2nd or 3rd grade. His dad died that fall of his 5th grade year, and so he never finished the 5th grade.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
So he and his 10 siblings grew up under a great big-ass spruce tree over in Forks, Washington.
Jeez.
And they lost everything. They lost all the family estate.
Was he the oldest?
What's that?
Was he the oldest?
No, he wasn't. And that was the good news. Anyway, the moral story is that they literally lived under a spruce tree for almost 2 years because they were thrown out of their own house and lost everything. And so they would steal their own cows out of their field and milk them to keep. Then they kept 2 of them going because you have to milk them both morning and evening.
Sure.
And they would literally steal their cow and bring it up Put it back in the field. So when the banker would come by and the police would come by and make sure that the cows were still out there. And finally, they wound up where they went to work at Forks and the various in those places it was logging.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
So the males all went and became loggers, and they finally bought pieces and parts of their own house back. And so the fact that they survived was a miracle in and of itself. But my father was really big on tough. Mm-hmm. And my mother was really all about education and kindness and loving. Mm-hmm. My dad was all about tough. And so
they sound like they balanced each other out.
They did.
Yeah.
That was the magic.
Yeah.
And my father's words to me that haunt me to this day are tough times don't last, tough people do.
Yeah,
I know
that's a good
that
one.
And so this is a guy that wouldn't throw a nail away.
Yeah.
Because he could straighten it. Because out at Forks, you had to go to frickin' Port Angeles to get a goddamn nail.
Drive. We went there.
Yeah. And that's
one year.
And that was that lake that you went around. That was 2 lanes, very narrow lanes.
Yeah.
That's where his dad died. He was knocked into the lake by a logging truck.
Oh, wow.
And so, it was a deal where your supplies came from Port Angeles, which is 100 miles away, and it would be another world.
Yeah.
And so straightening a nail out, you didn't break it. So you're talking about the bang bang on the nail.
Yeah.
It's like there's a reason I do that is because I don't want to bend the goddamn nail. Yeah. My dad will come out and beat my ass.
Yeah.
Even as an old guy, and so
right.
tough people don't last. Tough times don't last. Tough people do.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, most of my life I have not measured up to. In my own mind, I always think sometimes I don't measure up to being tough enough. And I was an infantry soldier, and that was one of the primary motivations. Is why did you become an infantry soldier? Why did you volunteer for this shit? Because I wanted to show people that I was tough enough.
Sure.
I wanted to bring it home to Dad.
Well, I think there's a lot of different ways of being tough. There's physical ways, mental ways,
yes,
outward ways.
Yes.
My father-in-law is the toughest guy I've ever met.
Right.
And he's he is like alpha. Is the only way I can say it is, some people on the side of the road are cutting down a down tree. Those people will move, and he's gonna cut down the tree. And that's his way. And I think it's I look at that and I'm like, man, it's a really admirable way to live. I mean, you're so out front, you're so exposed, you're so confident. It's really something to admire. But I think there's also ways of softer ways of being that same amount of assertive.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And yes.
So, well, with that, let's put a pin to it and moving on to the continuation of the segment.
Quick reset.
Okay. How can I help you be successful today?
Sounds good. I like it. We'll have you on with Jeff. Well, we got to have you on for the next draft.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was funny. Yeah, that really made me laugh.
Yeah. God, come on, guys. Have a little history here. Miracle on Ice is not the greatest moment in American sports history. Come on. Come on, fellas.
That's the best.
Do you believe in miracles? And I'm a Dodger fan. I mean, Kirk Gibson's home run up until Freddie Freeman is like the second greatest moment in history of sport.
He really brought in the fist pump.
Oh, yeah.
He ushered it into American culture.
Well, and see, that was Hall hockey, right? Before Gibson came along.
Sure.
Okay. But once Gibson did it, was like, hallelujah.
All right. Welcome back to the show here. We've got Darel Maxfield, Colonel Darel Maxfield, in the hot seat here. We're still in the personal department here. I'm going to skip one or two, and I've got my last, what I would consider a personal question.
They haven't been personal yet?
Wow.
No, this is my last of the personal.
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't. Yes, I do.
Not the last question, just the last.
This is why I need Roy as an interpreter.
Yeah.
All
right.
I speak.
Yeah.
Army.
All right, Darel.
Okay.
So
let me get the crowns out.
How did self-doubt, criticism, and a fear of failure contribute to your outward appearance of confidence, compassion, and inclusiveness? You've kind of already addressed this, and I can reread that as I added 6 different qualifiers in there. But how did self-doubt, criticism from others, or a fear of failing contribute to your outward, and I said outward appearance because I couldn't think of a better way to say
You rock a mean stash, is what he's trying to say.
yeah. I should have kept mine. Gosh.
You would have been jealous of that one. You would have felt so demasculated.
I could say something and just make a fool of myself, you know. Have you had the mustache for a while?
So off and on over the years, but at some point, bushy mustaches at some point look like you're a '70s porn star. So
sure,
at some point you gotta no.
So do real thin, scraggly ones.
Yeah.
No, it's really funny, but I am at my heart and soul a pleaser. I want to please
Hence
people.
The mustache.
Seriously, I have a granddaughter, and she's in kindergarten now, and she's just the most adorable, just like your daughter, just an adorable child who you love with all your heart.
Yeah.
And she crawls up in my lap, and she gives Grandpa the love, and she's just loving and kind, and she's stroking my face, and just the lovingest creature on earth. And she looks up at me and says, "Grandpa, you would look really good in a beard." She says that to me. Okay. And so, and a mustache, okay.
Yeah.
And so, okay, if Nora says I look good in a beard and a mustache, then by God, we're going to grow a beard and a mustache. And at this point in my life, I can actually grow one. And it looks bushy and, full, unlike when I was a kid. And,
or if you're a 40-year-old man.
How dare you, Roy? I will leap out of this chair.
So anyway, moral story is that one day she says, "Grandpa, I don't like your beard anymore."
Sure.
And it's scraggly and it's scratchy. And I said, "Well, honey, do you she said, "Oh no, I really," and she does this. "I love your mustache."
Well, there you
and
go.
So, that's the only woman on earth. That seriously is the only person on earth that can make me do what she wants me to do. Yes, dear. Yeah, how high and how far? And so that's the Magnum mustache. And so, so whatever what my kindergarten granddaughter wants, that's what Grandpa does.
Perfect.
And, nice.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, actually, how I ended up with the mustache is a case in my first grader. He goes, "Dad, I don't know. I can't remember it exactly, but he was like, you need to shave that." So I shaved off the goatee and left the mustache down here. And I came back out in the living room and just, they're on their...
Yeah.
And it's been about an hour, and I'm like...
Anybody?
Kason, is there
Hello?
anything different about me?
Hello?
And I was like, I did this because of you. And my wife was a little mad for a while. It took a while. I think she ended up
about
liking
it before you even told me about it, Ryan. Andrew goes, "Do you know what Ryan did?" "No. He has a mustache." I'm like, "Oh. Yeah, he asked me to shave myself to a mustache." Yeah. And Andrew goes... I'm like, "I can't do that with you, Ryan. Sorry."
And you think you can stop her from yelling at other basketball fans?
It stopped. Sure. It stopped. But that's why I can't shave. I grew it out, and she's like, "If you ever shave it, that's it."
Sure.
I'm like, "All right." And even Ashlyn's on board now. She's like, "No."
You've got a whole army behind you.
I know. Sully's like, "I'd be open to seeing what you look like."
Okay. Seriously though, if the women in your life asked you to shave, would you shave?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you would.
But right now, it's like only if I have to have like facial surgery
well,
can I
really
shave.
Tells me where I rank.
Well,
yes,
I have a little
Thank
extra
God
incentive.
for small favors.
I have a little extra incentive from my wife that I don't want from you.
True that, Roy. True that.
I told you earlier, Ryan, that you and your beautiful bride make arranged marriage is almost a reason to exist. Because if a person could arrange a more perfect marriage, I can't imagine who it would be. So you, my brother, are a lucky man.
I completely agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been told I'm married into Spokane royalty.
She's on the wall.
Which is on the wall at Shadle, yeah.
Okay.
Writing's on the wall.
That's right.
They used to be her, Kevin Gardner. Do you know Kevin
Oh,
Gardner?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
We ran into him, and he used to announce the Shadle basketball, volleyball games.
Oh, yeah.
He would go, next up, Amy, writing's on the wall. And we said that to him, and you could... When I said it to him, it just totally took him back, and he's like, "Oh, I had had names for every player on that team."
Oh, I'm sure he did. Yeah. He was very clever. He is a very clever fellow.
Yeah, he was it was a baseball or basketball coach, a YMCA way back in the day, and then I ran into him at a job site, and I was like, "Oh, hey Kevin, how you doing?" And we talked for a while, and then we both mutually knew this. Contractor, so it was kind of funny.
Good story.
So should I get to a question here?
Yeah.
I did kind of ask one. I better ask it, or else the fans will revolt.
Fan revolt.
How did self-doubt, criticism from others, or a fear of failure
I thought you already asked that question.
Did you answer it? Well, you just kind of moved on.
We moved on.
Did you?
Really quick.
Do you want to answer it?
Yeah, no, I'll give you a quick answer.
Sure.
And I will be quick this time. Your enemy will always find your weakness.
Okay.
Now,
that's truth.
Truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So, for example, at Best Mile, where we were, I thought we were completely secure, and we had a wonderful installation, and we were the crown jewel of the training world of the Iraqi Army, and the Army, the enemy taught me 3 times that I wasn't so damn good after all.
Gotcha.
And so
they always find a way.
They will, and it's brutal, but it is an absolute truth that your enemy will always find your weakest link.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't learn from your enemy, then you are stupid.
Right.
And you can't fix stupid. And so the truth of the matter is if you really do have a responsibility, which again, my problem, not yours, but my belief. In fact, my number one objective on my officer evaluation system was to never make an American mother cry. And I think I was the only person on earth that put it that way, but I did. And there was a particularly senior American officer whose name is synonymous with that particular era who thought that was rather clever. And he appreciated the fact that I was really trying to basically take care of soldiers.
Sure.
And the truth of the matter is you can't take care of your soldiers if you allow your enemy to have an advantage over you. And again, as I mentioned, I hate to lose. And so anything that the enemy would give me, I would take to heart. And I screwed up several times. At Salk, for example, there was a person that was the principal there that absolutely hated me.
Yeah.
And there were several staff members that were her wonderful friends that also did not like me much.
Sure.
Just because of the way that I was. And they taught me what where my weak links were. And so as a result of that, I really worked hard not to have weak links.
Interesting.
And so one of the, inclusion, everybody would always say, oh, you're a white alpha male, and so you don't include everybody. Well, bullshit, I do.
They said that about you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so I worked really hard to make sure there was never a time when that any kid that I ever had, even the ones that were just pain in the
ones that took a little more time.
Took a little more love.
More time to cook, yeah.
Yes, a little more time to cook. But I made sure that they knew that they were loved too.
Yeah.
And I did. And so my enemies teach me all the time.
That is a perfect answer and much appreciated. Very insightful. Roy, is everything all right over there?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's a personal side quest.
Roy has a direct line to my wife.
It's not your wife.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So just calm down.
She texts him if things are going crazy.
Because normally he's like reading the questions, and she's like, "I need somebody in here."
Oh, okay.
I
We'll
need
make
someone
sure
to throw down some law.
with the kid meltdown, but
Yeah.
we're in good shape
Okay.
here.
Nobody's dying.
No one's dying.
Okay.
At least not that I know of.
Not yet, anyway.
They might be bleeding out, but they're not dead yet.
All right.
We can call for medevac, you know.
Yeah.
I know that 9 line really
Yeah,
well.
I've got it written down.
Yeah, okay.
I think you kind of answered some of my questions in advance here. I'm going to ask this one, though.
Yes, sir.
How did the lessons you learned from your military career inform the way you taught, and how did your teaching career inform the way you led in the military?
I will tell you, and my wife just shakes her head when I explain this, but my whole world, my entire life is very, my framework of understanding is hugely based on the military model. So, for example, if we're doing what I call an operation, I call it an operation, and we have a staff planning process and a logistical support matrix and a phase line and all the things that you have, because I can understand it,
Yeah.
and it makes sense to me.
Sure.
And so I would argue that the military has profoundly influenced everything that I'm about. Even
Okay.
developing lesson plans as
Yeah.
a teacher,
Because you're proficient in it, in the military side.
there's a standard.
You have a very expert understanding of that, which makes it
I will
easy
seize
to
the
apply
objective.
to
Yeah, I seize the objective.
other areas of your life. Yeah.
If you're my boss, I will do my darndest to make you happy, because I will seize the objective, I will hold it, and then do subsequent and I will attack off the objective into secondary and tertiary objectives, and seize all sorts of objectives strategically and tactically.
You must appreciate our camera setup, as we have overlining fields of fire here.
I do.
over our-
Interlocking field of fire. Yes, sir, they are.
That's a real thing, Ryan.
There's
Oh, I know.
nothing. There's nothing that can exist on your battlefield without your control or
And we brought it back this episode.
Yeah.
and
That-
for you, again, thank you for
Yeah,
your
thank
thank
you
you
also.
on behalf of Grateful Nation. Thank you for your service.
And also you.
So your military really is the core. Your military service and understanding. Did the teaching transfer back to how you led, or
Profoundly.
Rated?
Yeah, no, it did.
So just side question here.
Yeah.
So we were a teacher first and then joined the military, or we were in the military while you were a teacher?
I joined the military in 1983. I enlisted
Okay.
as a
Because I don't know your
Yeah,
full
no.
history.
I enlisted as just a basic 11 bullet catcher, 11B.
Yeah. 11 Bravo.
Went to Fort Benning,
Georgia.
victory starts here.
Yeah.
Follow me, die as I die. And then, and one day my first sergeant starts screaming at me and telling me to get out of his unit
Yeah.
because I'm going to the other side of post. And so I became an officer. And I could tell you a wonderful story about that. That's actually funny, but it takes forever.
Yeah.
But
Because I don't know. I don't know the whole story.
So, I became an officer and then kept screwing up and moving up and left the world as a colonel.
That checks out for
Yeah.
officers.
Yeah, no, it's you laugh. It's not funny.
No,
I can. Okay, virtually no general in the Army I didn't serve with at some point, and I can tell you stories, but that's another story.
yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, getting back to what your point is that the military profoundly influenced my teaching, but the teaching also profoundly influenced my military because the experiences, again, and I'm sure it's bullshit to hear, but I really did try to give my best to every kid every day. That was actually one of those mantras or axioms that John Benz gave me up at Ferris. I mean, he said, "No shit, that's what you're doing." He expected that.
Yeah.
Every kid, every day, and every teacher, I think, tries to do that. I don't know that any teacher ever does it, but we all try.
Sure, yeah.
And so as a result of that, but the experiences I took from learning about the stories, every human being has a profound and important story, no different than you.
Sure.
Or your family. That's the coolest part actually as a teacher, is to know not only you but your family
Yeah.
and your wife's family.
Right.
And then the confluence of these two great rivers as they flow forward in your family and then become manifest in your children.
Sure. Yeah.
And so
definitely.
bullshit aside, it makes me, almost to the point of crying because I'm so happy that things are good for you.
Yeah.
I like that. That makes me very, very happy that something or someone succeeded somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
Dear God, somebody finally made it. So
really
the point is that the teaching really, really, really profoundly influenced the, and I think that's why I got selected to work with the Iraqis, is because the active duty guys. David Petraeus, general type, when he reported to Congress, called the War of 29 Colonels. And I was just one of the 29. There were 28 real colonels, and there was me.
Yeah.
And I was just a dumbass reservist, whereas the rest of these guys are like from West Point, and they're real colonels,
Sure. Yeah.
And so he talked about the effort to create the Iraqi army and to stand up this Iraqi army, train them and teach them to fight. He never alluded to the fact that he had one bogus colonel doing that. And so
The one reserve guy.
yeah, one of those goddamn reservists. And they
get a bad rep. They get a bad rep.
Yeah, no, the active component hates reservists. They
Sure,
really
yeah.
do. And
Okay.
it goes...
And guard.
Oh, yeah. Oh. But see, the Guard is the reserve army, too.
I know.
That's the thing you forget. So anyway, the moral story is that you have one of these odd ducks amongst 28 purebreds, and you're running with these pure dogs, and they're really good.
Well.
They really, really are good. They are the best we have. And then you have this other one, and the fact that at the end of the day I'm still standing it's a miracle.
Wow, Darel. Well, we're gonna have to put a pin in this. Move on to the next segment.
That was a fast 18 minutes.
I'll probably just.
Jesus, I'm sorry.
The best part is the magic of editing. It just will look like one long
Okay,
thing.
well,
So just take it as a break. You're doing
I
great.
took
I
way
love
too
the
much
long
time. I'm
answers.
sorry.
You really haven't.
I'm sorry.
You haven't killed anything.
5 hours.
Yeah, we've done.
Okay.
This is totally fine.
Nonsense 5 hours.
And
Okay. Well,
Darel, people love to hear from you.
Okay.
This is going to be great. I
all
think
right. Well, I appreciate it.
you're doing great.
If I talk too much, you can just go under here and go cut,
Oh, no problem.
and I'm okay with that
Just
too.
interrupt you. No, you're doing great.
I follow instructions very well. I was a really good enlisted soldier. I really was.
There you go. Have popped into my head. Well, we had you at Westview for that.
Yes. Yeah.
And I must have been friends with you on Facebook or something. I'm not sure. Well, other than just I loved you as a teacher, so I knew you
You're very
were.
kind. Thank you.
But I didn't really. I don't think when I was a student I knew you were in the military at all.
Yeah.
So at some point I connected the dots, and then I've followed you since. And I am always interested and curious with people like you. You people like you always think. Well, I never say always, never say people like you, but
Okay.
you are one of a kind of a subset of a kind. There are people like you. My dad is kind of like you, where everyone that meets him, everyone. I kind of took over the family business, and there'll be people that are like, "How's your dad doing?" And in my head, I know that they haven't seen him in probably 6-7 years.
Yeah.
And he worked for him once. And,
This is my aunt and
and he
uncle.
was there for like an hour and a half. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll say that, and I'll go, I'll try to do the detective work just to really, so I can understand what they're really asking. And I'm like, wow, he was there for 90 minutes, like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And you somehow found me either by requesting a window cleaner random and we got hooked up and you recognize the name, or
Yeah.
maybe because the phone numbers aren't the same. I don't remember where I'm going with this, but it's just people like you intrigue me a lot.
And I would argue, however, that you are also that category in the fact that you're an eminently decent human being
Sure.
that
Yeah.
does great things habitually. You are part of the culture that enables us as a people to retain our position in the world. You enable, because of the fact that you do good things for good reasons with good people. You and your beloved bride raise a family.
That's one of my
Yeah, you do.
I stumbled into that. When the kids are, when the house is freaking out, I say, good people say good things, do good things to nice people.
Yeah, no, you do. You simply you are the glue that makes society work.
Thank you.
And it's we are easy to focus on people that are shitbirds that do stupid things.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you can tell me more about stupid people than
see
I can
them every
ever
day.
know. Yeah,
All
you do.
day, every day.
But the fact that you and Amy do great things for good
Good people in good ways and
correct.
good attempts
Correct.
and good
So
motions.
you, in fact, are the glue that keeps our society together. Were it not for you and people like you, we'd be in a world of shit. But the truth of the matter is that you just keep knocking it down one day at a time.
True.
And I admire that far more than I can ever tell you.
Well, thank you, Darrell.
Working that pole. He's really got.
Day
I
by
got.
day.
I got to give you a little backstory.
Roy, this
of our
is
history.
about Darrell.
I know, but I'm just saying. When I first met him, he was. I just knew him. Okay, he's a window cleaner. He does it good. We went on vacation to the ocean, where we always go, to Ocean Shores at this timeshare that my in-laws are part of. There's a guy cleaning the windows. He's got on the ground, 5-story building. He's all the way at the bottom doing 4th floor. Just, I'm like, I'll take a photo, send it to him. Like, oh, like, look, you use one of these? I would never. That guy's a disgrace to window cleaning. I would never use a pole. And then 2 years ago,
Roy, I bought the best thing I've ever
best
bought.
thing I've ever paid for in my life. It's a high pressure pole. I'm like,
That's not high pressure.
really? Whatever it is. I'm like, how dare you? How dare you buy this pole and work from the ground like
Bastard!
like a peasant?
I'd completely forgotten.
I would never let it go. 'Cause I thought I was doing him a solid. Like, oh, check this guy out.
Yeah.
He's on the ground, 5 stories up.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, that guy's, he's doing an injustice to the world.
Yeah.
And now, what's he do? Working the pole all the time.
All day.
All day. So I can't let it go. Every time he's, it took me 7 hours to do it the right way. Oh, now I got this pole. 2 minutes. It's like, oh, what a jerk.
Dirtbag.
Oh, I know. He's really gone down in society.
Well, Roy,
Don't let him have the glory.
I'd hate to bring it back to our guest, but
I just can't let it go, Ryan.
If you-
He hit me so hard. We were just becoming friends. It's like, oh, why would he even send me that? This guy's a disgrace to window cleaning. And now he's doing it all the time.
Turncoat.
Oh, I know.
I know it's rough.
Real betrayer of trust.
I am not.
Maybe a blue falcon, if
Forrest
you
Gump
will.
said it first. I am not a smart man,
Yeah.
but I finally bought a water-fed pole.
Yeah. And I've hated you ever since.
Boy, it's made a lot of
Yeah.
jobs.
Technology is an amazing thing,
Oh.
isn't it?
Rich people build stuff on cliffs. And until I had that, I used a 32-foot ladder and a 24-foot pole.
And you should still do it, Ryan.
On
I don't
top
care
of
how
it.
bad your knees are.
How does it look?
He shamed
I
me
don't
so
know.
bad for sending him that photo. I'll never let it go.
See, in 10 years, he will love that instrument.
People
Oh,
don't
yeah.
forget, Roy.
I don't. I never will.
Speaking of not forgetting, Darrell, I was really impressed with how you remember so many students. And
What I got to deal with every day. Every day of my life.
now, we've kind of addressed, one of my questions was, did teaching find you or did you find teaching? It sounds like your mom was a teacher. It sounds like teaching was kind of in your blood.
teaching was and still is the family business for me. You know how there's a really neat TV series called Blue Bloods.
Oh, that's good.
And
Tom Selleck.
Yeah, Tom Selleck and that
Wahlberg.
team. Yeah, and they talk about the fact that policing is their family business. In my world, education is the family business, or my mother was anyway, and a number of her family members were teachers, and even a couple of my dad's family. Despite the fact that they didn't have a formal education growing up. In those days, you could go to college without necessarily even graduating from high school, as odd as that sounds. But anyway, the moral story is that, my family business was teaching. And so as a result of that, teaching, and again, I as a child, okay.
Let it fly.
We'll be honest. I used to pray for three things. For three things, yes. God, these drinks, I'll tell you. Anyway, the moral story is...
That's how he makes friends. He just gets you drunk and just says, you love me, you love me, you love me, you want to be with me all the
this
time.
This is why we do the interview part at the end of the show, after happy hour.
Your true self.
So I always wanted three things. I only honestly, as a child, prayed for three things.
Yeah.
I wanted sons. I honestly asked God to give me sons. And I asked God to give me a hot wife. Laugh all you want.
Not necessarily in that order.
No, actually not. And then I wanted to be a soldier. And then when the movie Patton came out, I went with a friend of mine named Curtis Burnell down to the Fox Theater and watched Patton over and over and over again. And so I refined that prayer to be, I wanted to lead soldiers in a desperate struggle for freedom across the continent.
It's a very desperate struggle.
Yeah, and save a world.
Yeah.
And then with the reality that teaching was the family business. And I am many things, but I am not disloyal. I am loyal to to a fault.
To a fault, as they say.
Yeah, and I suck in that regard, and you can explain many things in my world by the fact that I am being loyal to something that you don't understand. But I am loyal to my family at the end of the day, and so as a result of that, I'm a teacher. And so, trying to reconcile the teacher-military thing, and then, and when I quit the active Army in the first place, I had no intention of ever going back to the Army. But again, it was a teaching connection that brought me back to the Army Reserve, which in turn brought me back to the Army. And so as a result of that, I felt like my loyalty issues could remain true to my original objectives.
Sure. Wow.
Yeah, and they actually have a program in the military, soldier to teacher. Will pay you to become a teacher.
No, really?
I think multiple levels, too.
That would make sense.
There are very few of them now.
Yeah.
The military has, for whatever reason...
Real soft.
Has gone away from... A lot of soldiers do not seek employment in education after they're done being a soldier. For a variety of reasons, and we won't get into that.
I would be fired 10 times by now if I was a teacher.
All I can do is say, amen, sir.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway.
We're surprised you've made it as a bus driver this long.
Oh, so many times. But the thing is now, I've been there so long that it hardly happens. But when it does happen, I need to find another job so fast.
Yeah, right.
But it's such an easy gig.
Too bad I don't have two poles. And you've besmirched the one I have so much.
Well, because you besmirched me so much when I recommended it 5 years ago.
Next question.
Roy's it's always right on
I'll
the
never let it go.
Roy.
People never forget, Ryan.
People don't forget.
Don't forget.
Long memories.
I thought I was doing I'm like, oh my God, look at this guy. Cleaning 5 stories up from the ground. Oh, that guy's a piece of crap. He doesn't know what window cleaning is. And now he's rocking the pole.
He's rocking the pole.
I won't let it go, Ryan.
Roy, had I thought about it, they've probably had their initial clean, and they've been maintaining with the pole. Because you can't just show up at the pole and clean a window.
Oh, he does.
It takes a little bit of elbow grease at the beginning, get them perfect, and then you can cruise.
Not this place.
Jeez.
On the ocean?
Man.
With the salt water? Come on.
Are you still in charge of him in some way?
Sorry, Ryan. I can't help you on this one, buddy.
I'm just saying.
You're on your own, Tiger.
I gave you a new light. You have a brand new light because of me. Look at that. Look at it.
I don't know. Yeah, I know, but I don't need it.
You're treating me like crap. Darel Maxfield.
Sir.
I can't let. He doesn't know the whole story, so I got to let people know.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate the context.
Well,
the
it's good to know
backstory.
some
I'm all
backstory.
about the context.
You know, nobody is who they are. They all come from somewhere.
Yeah.
That's true, and we all have a story.
Which is the ladders for you. Not anymore.
All right, Darel. I'd like to ask you one or two more questions here. So Jeff Lafferty.
Yes. The Lafferty family. I love them.
He mentioned a story, and so he had. Let me rapid fire you real quick. Did you own a sports clothing store?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
He wasn't sure.
No, I was. We were the first. We were the first licensed sports apparel store in Spokane.
Montgomery Awards.
Yeah, we were Pro Jersey of Spokane.
Okay.
And then downtown, we were Spokane Sports Fan, and out in the valley at U City, we were Spokane Sports Fan.
That is awesome.
Nice.
Jeff Lafferty liked jerseys, and he liked you, and you were his teacher, and he bought jerseys. He thought you guys were like really tight and really, really good friends.
Loved the Lafferty kids.
Now,
I loved his older brother, or his younger brother, even though he hated me. We talked about that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Take some longer in the oven, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff mentioned this on the last episode. I wanted to mention it
was
to you.
good.
So he mentioned he was in class one time. He thought you guys were, real cool.
Because he bought a lot of jerseys from you.
Jerseys. He kind of knew you at school and outside of school, so he thought you were boys. And
oh God,
these are his words. These are his words.
What did I do now?
And
no.
No, you're pretty innocent in this.
Yeah.
No,
you were in the right.
I'm sure I'm not.
I think you were in the right.
So you're walking up and down the desks, and you come to his desk, and you kind of put you kind of come by with your hands and rest them on the desk, and with a pen, he goes, boom. He cracks you across the knuckles.
Yes. Oh my God.
And he said that.
Oh, that's funny.
You flipped out on him.
He cracked me hard.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. He remembers that.
Yeah. He goes, I thought we were boys, but apparently we weren't.
Oh my God, he whacked me. I was just like, wow. And I did. I kind of leaned over and
he goes. In the episode, I was like, you hit Mr. Jackson.
He did. He hit me.
So this
I thought the kid hated me. Oh my God, yeah.
He loved you.
No, he thought you guys were like
we were
good
pals.
Oh, but not after that day.
And like I said, he was. I adored that kid, and he was a great. What he will never know is that he was a great team player. He was a really good facilitator for other people's success on the basketball court and in the classroom. He was kind of that kid that, if you look at the formal line of communication or the formal line of authority, okay, so he had the informal line. There's a science to that whole thing, to watch people how they form both leadership and followership, and Lafferty was the kid that everybody looked to for authority.
Everybody loves him.
Yes.
I'm still on the fence.
And when he...
Yes. No, I understand completely.
Almost everybody.
Yeah, no, except maybe his little brother, maybe. And again, I tried desperately with his little brother, and I failed. That's one of the kids that I do in terms of my own life. I really feel like I the Lafferty family I loved, and I just think the world of to this day. And I feel like maybe there was something that I could have done better, but I just never did figure out what it was.
I think sometimes what you give is enough, and it was enough.
Yeah.
And, you made the difference that you could at,
Yeah.
with certain people at certain times in their life.
He remembers that, huh? He remembers
Yeah,
so well.
yeah. When Ryan told him last weekend
Yeah.
we were coming on, he's like, oh. I got a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay. Okay. Well, I didn't mean to lean on your desk there, son. Sorry.
Well, you thought you guys
I'd
were
never
good
do it
buddies.
again.
Yeah.
Tell you that right now. I learned real
Well, he's
quick.
a lot bigger nowadays. He'd really get you good.
Shit. Oh, excuse me. Shoot.
Well, it's all right.
Yeah. Shoot. I'll never make
It'll
that
only be
mistake
Ryan's
again.
mom that's disappointed.
Mrs. Lafferty, I didn't mean to insult your son. Trust me on this one.
Well, Darel, I think to bring the show to a close, we've touched on basically everything I wanted to ask you. You know, I'm tempted to just give the floor to you. You know, are you is there anything that you're feeling that you need to wrap this episode up with? A dot, an I, across the T?
Mr. Lund, all I can do is tell you that, listen, you were part of my life. You were part of my life that I really, really deeply wanted to serve. And I am incredibly grateful for the kindness that you have always extended me. Always.
Well, thank you for
And
that.
your family, your beloved wife, and her family, her entire family, and
Yeah.
I could tell you stories about that. But I have been the incredible recipient of incredible grace over a long period of time. And that includes the time that I didn't necessarily always appreciate the grace that I was getting. You know, when you
That's a good topic.
no, seriously, in terms of understanding the grace that you're receiving, I don't think anybody ever really understands the depth of other people trying to say thank you or other people trying to support you as you are moving through your whatever journey that you're on. Every person is on a journey, and as people gather together and try to support them, move them on, that's what school teachers do, is that they see kids on their journey and they try to lift them up in a figurative sense.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we always as human beings figure on is that we blame people, we find fault in people, and that we say the institution sucks because that person sucks. And that's not true. It's always about the individual person. It's someone. And for that, everyone has failings.
Yeah.
But I have been the recipient of incredible grace over an incredible period of time. You
Darel?
were part of that.
The camera's about to turn off. Thank you for coming on the show. It was a real pleasure.
Yeah, it was.
Thanks, dude.
Pleasure meeting you. All right, that's all we have for you guys today. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to join our club on Facebook at Supper Club Social. Underneath this week's episode, go and write a review of the drink if you've had it or if you decide to make it. And we will pick one or two of the comments and read them out on our next episode.
You can find us at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our website at www.supperclubsocial.net. We look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Have a good one.
Take it easy. Nice.
I didn't know I had to do my
You gotta
part
do your
again.
part again.